Welcome to the Illuminati broadcast. I'm your host, David Moore, your Messiah. What's up, y'all? All right, let's go. So, Messiah means messenger, obviously, but I'm the best one. There's no other one. Let's go. All right, so we're going to go over this little chart again, real quick, just a refresher. Earth, water, fire, air, Venus, the sun. Wait, let's try that again. Mercury, Venus, the sun, Mars, the moon, Jupiter, Saturn. So you have these three Saturns. So sometimes people are like, well, Jesus is 644. So you got the 6 down here. How are these 4s? I had figured it out yesterday, but I forgot today. But we'll try to remember that next time. I think it would be like the 4 elements. I don't know. Anyways, but it's also the 666. So you got Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. So you have 3 stars of David right there. So that's a 6-pointed star. It would be a 666, right? The number of a man. Yeah. So kind of let's dig through this real quick. So Hathor, Sekhmet, Isis, Nephthys. All right. You could also have let's see, who else do we have that kind of represents those elements? I don't know. All right, so let's see. Right here, so I can't wait to put the symbols in them, but right now I'm just coloring them in, trying to line them up evenly. But the 3 signs we have here are Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. Then we have Leo. Then we have Sagittarius, Aries, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And then we go up here, we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then Pisces and Aries again. Okay, so then you can see that some of the signs have, when they're associated with the element, that's their planet. So Aries is fire, which is Mars, but Scorpio is with Mars, but that's the second part of it. So I guess there's like 2 laws. The first law, which is the basic elements, and then the second law, which is the more advanced, structured form of the zodiac. But this is also the Bible. This is also the Torah in one simple format. Obviously, we do love the Torah because it's like a long scroll and you can keep digging through it and learning new things. The Bible's awesome because it's a book and you can flip through it. But here we have one simple tool, but we can use this one tool in combination with those tools to dive deeper into information. So this is what Jewish mystics would use, and this is also what the priests in the Levite would use. And this is also the Holy of Holies, and this is what they would use, like that little breastplate. This is how they would decipher things. So they would use this formula. I have just enhanced it and categorized it. Even in Japan, you have a game called shogi, and they use this formula as well. They're really good with Jewish mysticism because they used to be Jews back then too. So a lot of places that you wouldn't suspect to have Judaism has it. Everybody has it. It's part of the religion. This is also associated with Buddhism and Hindu and all those other kind of things. All the religions all put together in this. That's why they call it the Mark of the Beast or the New World Order or the One World Religion. And that's why they would call Jesus, they'll call him a false prophet, or they'll call him the Messiah. They'll call him the devil, or they'll call him God. They'll call him an angel, or they'll call him a demon, or they'll call him all kinds of mean things or nice things. That's why there's that duality. I think another message would be, we're humans, right? So our spirits used to be angels, and then they come down to earth. So then they're fallen angels, right? Then they're demons. So people would be like, oh, this demon, that. No, like, demon is a mechanism. Angel they're just mechanisms, like just programs, the way we do things with our life. So this would kind of be like the first computer if we really think about it. And even if it's the first computer, it's also like God's tool to utilize and create the earth, I remember one time somebody was like, well, if you're God, then how did you create the universe? And I'm like, let me show you. So yeah, we got this right here, you know. You have Genesis. The reason why I'm having it face this way is because this is west, and that's west over there. This is north, that's north over there. This is south, that's south over there. This is east, and that's east in that direction. So I like to hold it up to the proper directions. You can do it the other way too if you want to look at like what it looks like on the other side of the earth, because we're inside of the dome, we're inside of the inner earth. So if there's an earth, we're on the inside of it, along the walls. We're not on the outside walking, we're on the inside walking. Okay, so anyways, let's see, let's flip it back up. Yeah, so if I do it the other way, then I could see what it's like in England or Israel. Yeah, because they're on the other side of that, inside of that dome with us. So there's not an outer space, there's an inner space. So if you were to go towards the sun, you'll hit the inner space where the sun is leaving a mark or a trail of stars behind it. So when it's nighttime, it's still reflecting all the light. And the sun is reflecting the north and the south pole, creating the moon. Yeah, so this is ancient Jewish mysticism and navigation. So my family are Morenos or Moroni or Moroni, More O'Neill, because my family comes from a long line of Irish kings, and it comes from a long line of Ashkenazis, Germans. So they had this really cool mix where they stayed pure blood and they made it all the way to America, and they still kept it pure. They would only create like treaty babies, where basically like Native Americans with their strongest tribes and then our strongest tribes would get together and make a baby. So that's pretty cool. So even like stories about like Mormonism, when they talk about you know, the Jew people being here before everyone else, and that's true. Anyways, so yeah, we have all this religion all put together in one, and a simple way to explain it. So we got Genesis, right? So God creates Adam and Eve. This is these two right here, and then they go out to, and then it goes out to Noah. And then it goes out to Moses. I think the Tower of Babel and Moses over here. So Noah, so Adam and Eve, Noah, the Tower of Babel, and then Moses right here. So this is, let's see, Venus, Libra, Taurus, and Mercury. So that's why you have that golden calf. The Libra part, I don't know. It could be like God splitting Adam and Eve to create them, but Venus too, because that's like love, and that's how God represented himself at first, you know, through the wind and through the grass and the trees, and like he didn't really have a form yet. Let's see, I was thinking of something earlier about the serpent, like the snake. That's a very interesting thing, because when you meet God, he comes in two forms. So at first when he appears, you know, he's kind of a void or empty or just expansive, like the sun or the light, and like a glowing presence. And then he creates Adam and Eve, but who do you meet next that has this form of divinity? You meet the serpent, the snake. And back then, angels were called seraphim or serpents, and they were made out of fire. So they're kind of like genies in a way. Or they are genies. Genies and angels were the same thing. When we separate them and say that one is evil and one is not, then you're really being racist towards other people. Let's be honest. Because you're saying, oh, this people are wrong for believing in this, and these people are wrong for believing in that. But let's be honest. Angels are scary. Genies are scary. All right, so another important thing is Aries, this red, this Mars, this fire, but there's also this Mercury and this Taurus right here, which is the north. And people, on Wednesday, it's ruled by Michael, and Sunday it's ruled by Raphael. But Raphael and Michael work together. But people usually say Jesus is Michael, guardian angel Michael, because like, okay, so then that means God is Archangel Michael. All right, let's remember that. God is Archangel Michael. That's just the form he appears when he's like ready for battle, you know? And then they say Jesus is Michael. Remember, Jesus is God. And even that's why the Jews that believed in God became Christians, because they're like, the other Jews don't want to believe that, and we can't, we're not going to let the Lord die in vain. So we're going to follow him. So if we become outcasts with him, then so be it. But they ended up becoming really strong and powerful because, they have Jesus. And the Jews are always struggling, asking for help from the Christians. Let's be real. All right. But that's not a bad thing either. All right. So I guess our goal is to kind of bring the Jews and the Christians and the Catholics and everyone back together again. Another cool, funny story would be Jesus and Judas. Jesus was Mary Magdalene. Jesus can also be seen as the Virgin Mary in a sense. I believe she was real too, but I believe whatever's in the Bible is real, but also whatever we say about it is real as well. So I believe that Jesus was, when he would shave his beard, he would be Mary Magdalene, and he would be happy with Judas. But I think that they wanted to go out and spread the word and knowledge and become teachers and go look at the world. So they set up Jesus' death, and then, maybe they blamed somebody else and got them killed. Who knows? But it's a cool, funny story that you could kind of dive into and think about for a while, So yeah, I believe Jesus and Judas went off together to be happily married and wed off and live a beautiful life. But I'm also a descendant of Jesus. I'm a descendant of David. I'm a descendant of the Levites. So I'm definitely a root of David. Usually that means, our line of Judaism was never broken. So when we came to America, we were still purebloods. This doesn't apply for you because you're obviously not part of it. It's a very small tribe when you're in Asher. It's not very big. There can be Ashkenazis, but they're not real ones. They're not the same that I am. I'm more pure than they are. They're just maybe far distant cousins that need to obey, and they're not being very good because they think that they have more power than me, obviously, because I'm living a pretty bad life and they're living a pretty good life. But let's move on with the story real quick. Okay, so we have Jesus, Moses carries those tablets, the golden calf. People have Moloch. You can look at the Bible and be like, yeah, they said Moloch is a bad guy, but we're gonna look at it this way and say he's a good guy. We're gonna say all these things are good because this is the zodiac. So if this is Moloch, then you're saying that God is Moloch because God created this. So God is Moloch. There is no difference. That's why they worship him. They're just worshiping different aspects of him. And who knows, maybe those kids that they did sacrifice and found buried beneath those statues, maybe those were children that died at birth or they died when they were kids. Who knows? And then they just got offered up. Who knows what happened, But the archaeologists and scientists will try to direct you and make you believe what they want. But it's good to learn from them. It is. It really is, because you can get a lot of valuable information, do your own research, and come up with your own conclusions. But I'm just giving you the truth. So I love to do spells, and I did a spell to make the world tell the truth. So I want everyone to live their truth, and I want them to be true. There's a spirit called Ose or Voso that's around here somewhere. And he's number 57. And his job is to turn a man into whatever the exorcist wants. So if I say humanity become truthful and only tell the truth and only live in the truth, then they have to. They're forced to do it. And what gives me authority? Since I'm a high priest and I'm the Messiah, I'm allowed to do those things in the spiritual realm, command humanity and the spirits. Because remember, the angels are up here, the demons are down here. The stars are up here, we're down here. So we're the demons, these are the angels. Our mind, our consciousness is the angel, our body is the demon. So if I command it, it has to be done. Because your spirit will obey, but your body is another story. You really have to put work into that. To make somebody obey, because they're not going to listen unless you really give them force. But I have to do things this way because I'm a Gemini. So I'm an Aries sign, I'm pretty peaceful, I'm pretty kind, I'm pretty nice, I'm pretty loving. But I can be powerful, but I have to use magic to get my way. So I'm also born in May, and this is the pentacle for May. So you have the Taurus and Mercury. So we can kind of see, all right, God created Moses, so this lets you know if you're a Taurus, you're somebody with authority, you're somebody with power, you're somebody that has the ability to command the human realm and the spirit realm, and you're given big responsibilities. But, all right, so let's do a little bit of astrology real quick. Remember, because the Jews invented astrology and zodiacs, and we were Persian, we were Egyptian, we were all these races. We just kept moving around, creating different civilizations, letting them grow. So if you do look at my DNA chart, you'll be like, well, your percentage is low. And I'm like, that's because I'm more pure. So that means I didn't dilute it and include races over and over and over again into the same category. I was moving around, doing what I had to do, marrying the bloodlines that were true. Or that would be the Ark of the Covenant. So the Ark of Covenant's right here. This is the entrance to the tabernacle. So the tabernacle is this big square area, and you enter in, and then there's the brazen bull where they sacrifice things, and then you go up here. So how is that different from Moloch? All right, you have the tabernacle, right? And there's bulls surrounding it, and they make sacrifices and offerings to it. They use goats, sheep. And what do you call goats? Kids. And what do you call sheep? Lambs. And they're like pretty innocent, like children, right? Like, let's think a little bit. And you'll be like, well, where does the scapegoat come in? Well, at the head of that tabernacle in the direction of west, which is the direction of love. Venus is love too, but it's also kind of like communication. It's a certain kind of love, and then this is becomes a deeper love. So this love strengthens once it hits here. That's why they say love conquers all. You know, you got this fresh love, and then you got this really solid fluid love that you can carry with you. But this is Capricorn and Saturn, so that's why you get the scapegoat. And they would send it out into the wilderness for, you know, the demons to collect. But it's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Like, it was cool. They had a lot of cool ideas, and they were using magic. That's a magic ritual. That's an occult ritual. Magic is not bad. Magie is not a bad thing. It can be used for good, and it can be used for bad. It can be evil, and it can be good. There's nothing wrong with it, but there could be something wrong with the person. For me, I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to use this because I'm a high priest. I'm super strong. But if somebody else was to use it, it might tip the scales over here in Libra, and you might get a bad effect or a good effect. For me, I always get a good effect because it's aligned with my DNA. So you can have somebody with a different kind of DNA using this, and it'll totally backfire on them, or they would use it for evil purposes. Like, let's say they're like, oh, I want to get rich, and these people get rich, they get rich. But then that makes it easier for me to just go and destroy them in a sense. But it also is like what happens at the end of times, at the end of the day, the judgment stuff. So, ow, my eye. Anyways. Yeah, I just took a shower. I like to wear my bonnet so I can keep my hair up out of my face. Not mess up my hair. Anyways, we'll go more into detail about how all that works, but right now let's kind of focus on why my spiritual DNA, my physical DNA matches prophecy with end times revelations and what makes me the Messiah. All right, so we have Mercury, Taurus. This is the month I'm born in, May. This is the 5th month, right? Now, if you count, I was born on May 27th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Let's stop there real quick. This is an earth symbol, and this isn't directly, it's an angel. It's an angel. So usually these pentacles have 4 spirits associated with them, or 4 demons, or 4 gods. But we're going to kind of go back real quick. This is 21, correct? All right, we're going to skip these ones. Wait, let me try to do something else real quick. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. That's interesting. But we're going to skip these ones. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. All right, the reason we're skipping these ones is because this one's an earth sign, but this is the end of the water. So, and this is also number 50 where Saturn is, and that's where it splits. But we're gonna go back here and count and see where else it lands. And this is Gemini and Mercury. So this lets you know, like, around the seasons of the 20th to like some other time, that's the season of Gemini. I think from like May 20th to June 20th. So yeah, that makes me a Gemini, all right? And it makes me a true Gemini, but I also have this really strong earth aspect. I have this very powerful water aspect, which I'll explain later, but we have earth and air. So you get that Mercury, because Mercury is earth. Mercury is represented by the king. It's Moloch, it's Baal. So if we look here, this is the beginning of the Ars Goetia. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. The angles have 4, remember that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So that means my number is 16 and this 2 over here. So 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is Baal and Agaris. Baal is a king and Agaris is a duke. And this is the sunrise. This is when the sun begins to rise. This is when, that's why it has the horns. It's represented by the moon, but you have the sun. And when they show God as El Shaddai, they show him with like kind of like this cloudy Muslim face with these horns and like this cloudy beard, because he lives in the sky, So that lets me know, since that's my month, that I'm very closely associated with God. And then since I land on the 27th with Gemini and Mercury, so I still have this God aspect, but now I have it. That's why they call them demigods usually back in the stories. And Gemini is a story about a lot of the wars in Greek mythology. So Odysseus and the war in Paris or something like that. I think it's with somebody was trying to marry the daughter, or something about Troy or something, like the 2 twins. So there was 4 twins born, and they were born inside these eggs from when Zeus became a swan, and he copulated with a princess or a queen, and he made 4 children. So 2 girls and 2 boys. But that can also be seen as Artemis and Apollo. So that's why we're like demigods or gods, and I would be like a full aspect god because of that. Yeah, and I could even go through here and see what numbers I land on and what I get. So if this was 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. This is another corner. This is 9. This is 8 and 10. So you have Paimon in there. You have Barbatos in there. Yeah, you have a lot of spirits in that are really cool. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, Valafor's in there. But right here we have, let's focus on these ones. So these let you know what kind of spirits you can utilize to your abilities. And I'm going to go through the book real quick on that one. So I was doing some research last night, and I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about, let's kind of look at this one real quick. Let's look at Marbus, because Marbus is number 5. So that lets you know that this is Marbus. See the dot, 3 dots beneath him, and these 2 crosses right here. And he's a president, so that means he's Mercury. And what do we have here? 2, 4, 6. So he would be right here, 5 and 6. He's right here. He's pretty close to that Mercury border. He got these crosses right here, and he has these 3 dots beneath him. That's how they kind of came up with these sigils and let you know, okay, you're on the right track when you're creating the tablet. So a lot of people would use this and make this, but they would do it in a different way. Sometimes they'll draw it with like a whole bunch of stars or their own way, but not everyone knew how to do it this way, because you'd have to be a really high level priest. You would have to be a high priest, but even higher than the normal high priests, because they couldn't even do this a lot of the time. They would have like stones or just the elements or just the statues, and they would have to go with what they got. Me, I could just do it like this because I trained so well in it. But anyway, so let's go back over here. So if this is 5, the President Marbus, his ability is to cause different diseases or cure them. So that's kind of interesting to know. But this is the 5th month. This is Mercury, so that lets you know that these 2 are associated. And then we have the 27 down here. So let's look at what numbers those are and how they work out in the Ars Goetia and what we can learn from the Ars Goetia, because it's a deciphering tool. All right, so, oh yeah, let's go over the water real quick. I was born at 2:57, so on the map, this is 2:57. This would be the hour of Jupiter. You have Jupiter up here, and that's blue. It's got all that water energy. But I was born around this time at 2:57. Which is cool because I was born on May 27 at 2:57. So there's a lot of synchronicities already that align with prophecy. And this is how you find out if, like, well, if you ever wanted to find the Messiah, this is what you would use to find out who he is. And I'm going to show you why I am. But I can also use this to find out what people do, like why they do the things they do, what their abilities are. And it's a good way to learn about people. But, or what's going to happen in the world. So let's see. I was born in this area, so that lets you know that I have this ability of water. But we'll kind of dig into that a little bit later. So that's like a lot of love. That's pretty strong, you know? Doesn't always have to be fire, but I do have that fire right here because the sun is represented by fire. So if this is a king or Baal, that's fire. And then you have Mars really close to it. So obviously that's a fire, but Mercury is... Not only is it fire, see, so you have this fire here, but then you have Mercury and you have fire here too with the Mars and Mercury. So that's you know that Mercury is the sun. It's just in the morning, and then it starts heating up and becomes Mars. It starts off as Mercury when it's kind of cool and fresh, and then the morning time, which the sun is out, which would be Venus, and then it becomes the sun. And then it becomes Mars when it's hotter, and then it becomes the moon when it cools down, and becomes Jupiter when it's completely out of sight. All right. That's why Baal can make you invisible, because in the morning you can't see the sun, but you know the light's coming up. You can see the sunlight. All right. Let's see. Let's go towards the May 27 part. And how that works. All right, so May 27. On that number, it's 15 and 16. 15 is Eligos, and he has 60 legions of spirits that follow him. Then you look up who's number 60. Then you find you have Vapula, and she creates love. In Pokemon, Eligos is Vulpix and Ninetales. Vapula is Jinx. So you have this opposites. You have this fire type Pokemon, which is a Ninetales, a fox, and then you have Vapula, which is Jinx, and she's an ice type Pokemon. So ice and fire, you know, they battle, but they work on the same team. But they're both dukes, so that means they use love and air and communication and swords to get their point across. Then you have 16, which is Zapar, and 26, which is Bunyame. Zapar is Jigglypuff, and that's a Duke, so that's an air sign. That's why you get Jigglypuff going like this. Jiggly, and then it gets bigger, and it sings. That's air element. 26 is Bunyame, and that's Poliwhirl, Poliwag, Poliwrath. And his job is to go collect money and bring spirits to your house. That's very interesting to know. So I have these two genie spirits that I can command. One can go and they move like wind. So you can see these wind type genies that are going around causing havoc or mischief or whatever I want them to do, but their job is to cause love. Yeah, so basically they're kind of like manipulators. And that's not a bad thing either. That's a good thing for me, obviously. But they can bring out the truth and things as well. But if we go, we will learn that Eligos. We'll learn about Eligos and Zephyr. So that's why you have the Zephyr winds. You have all these myths and stories about the Zephyr winds and Cupid. Cupid would be 14, which is Larahi. He uses his bow. And then let's see what else we have. All right, so with the story about Eligos, I'm just going to show you the page real quick. I know this is a lot of information, but if you ever get the chance to like decipher it, I'll put it on my Instagram, which is davidmoorepro27@gmail.com. I mean, that's my email actually. So my Instagram is davidmoorepro27. You can always check it out, and I always post all these informations on there so you can look at it in better detail. But in 515 BC, there was like a law and a reform. I think for that one, that's the book of Nehemiah. No, Nehemiah, Zephyr, and Eligos was Ezra. So in the book of Ezra, you have this character called Zerubbabel. And Zerubbabel was this Jewish guy And he was supported by the king of Persia. Zerubbabel sounds a lot like Beelzebub. So now we know Beelzebub is not the bad guy that everybody says he is. He's not the Lord of lies. He's the Lord of truth. So Jesus would be called Beelzebub because everybody would say he's a liar, right? And they didn't like that. So the Jews would be like, you're a liar, we don't like you. But he was the truth. So people will usually say the bad thing about somebody and call them a bad thing, like the liar, the demon, etc., when they're actually a God of truth. And they take up the title of like, yeah, okay, I'll be the demon, I'll be the false prophet, because if I take that, you can't take it. And you can't call me that because I accept it, I own it. You're supposed to own those things. But when Jesus did it the first time, he was like, whatever. But this time I get to choose, you know? All right, so, yeah, you have Zerubbabel, and they rebuilt the temple. So that lets me know, oh, my job is to rebuild the temple in life. And you can even build temples. I built one here. Got it? Okay. So the Bible could be seen as a living form of the temple. The Torah is a living form of the temple. We are the living form of the temple. We are temples, right? Yeah. So, an interesting thing is Zerubbabel was a descendant of King David. So that lets me know I'm on the right track. I'm fulfilling prophecy. I'm a descendant of King David. My grandfather's name was Ray, which means king. His name was Raymond. And then you have, in Spanish, Ray means king. But doesn't make me Sephardic because I'm not that kind of Spanish. I'm a different kind. Maybe more elite, more up there, more pure blood. So I'm not diluted. And that's okay. I can be pure and you can be diluted, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just because you're mixed up with a little bit different elements, you're probably better at like boxing or doing things that I couldn't do. All right. Let's see. Yeah, they were in exile. The Jews went from Babylon to Jerusalem, and you can also see that as we used to be Babylonian, then we became Jerusalemian, whatever. Yeah, so Eligos walks around. He's a spirit, like a knight, but he has like a spear, and it has like a banner, and there's like this serpent energy, so you kind of get that Adam and Eve energy, but also that angelic energy. We have Zephyr. His job is to go, he kind of collects, well, he causes love, but since he has Bunye as his spiritual army, then that lets you know that he's out collecting spirits and he's out collecting money. Eligos is, so you have Jinx and you have Poliwrath. So Poliwrath is seen as this more masculine type of Pokemon, and you have Jinx is seen as this feminine type. So you can see Eligos going out controlling the women and Zephyr controlling the men. So I have this ability to go back between feminism and masculinism. And I can go between both and control both aspects, both spirits, both humans. And for all intents and purposes, being transgender, you're still human and you can choose whether you're man or woman. Doesn't matter. You can. You're allowed to. If you say you're a woman, you're a woman. If you say you're a man, you're a man. And if you feel like being one or the other any other day, then you're allowed to. All right. Yeah, so we have May 27, Eligos and Zephyr. There's something about Bazezeth. Let's see. One of them was a Jewish cupbearer, 52 days, covenant renewal, command and confession. So I think Zephyr was the Jewish cupbearer, so that makes sense. Or was it Eligos? I don't remember. I'll write it down better next time. But they're basically holding the cup of love. So that's why they have that power over love. Water. And water, the cup of Joseph, was used for divination. So this is how you learn about a person and their abilities. So you're learning about my abilities. And I'm okay with that because in Hunter x Hunter, Morena Prudo, just like me, because my last name is Moreno. And she's in the Haley family. And Haley is actually, it's a form of the mafia and a demon lineage, so a bloodline of humanity. And you got the Haley right here, just letting you know that they're part of the star. And that they can become kings if they wanted to. That's why it's the mafia, because it's like an underground world that protects the king, but it's protecting the true king, so it protects me. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a lot of clues, and then we're gonna connect them right now, okay? So we got social injustice, we have debt, Sabbath, spiritual fidelity, spiritual transformation, courage, and faith. And that's Nehemiah, because they rebuild the temple. They get everybody together to rebuild the temple. And I think there's a guy named Sanballat and Tobiah that help him. There's something about Deuteronomy, and I think that's in Marbus, because I forgot what chapter 5 is, but it has a lot to do with that. But this will be like the first run of it, but I'll clean it up so it's easier for you guys. But if you know, you know, because a lot of people don't know anything about the Bible. I'm just doing my best to help y'all right now, but I'll get better at explaining it to you. So now we have this idea of like how this is all working, and I do have Persian in me too, because Persian just means that you have a lot of royal blood in you. But anybody now that's Persian, anybody that now that's Jewish, anybody now that's German, they're not purebloods. They're just watered down versions of what they used to be, what came from my family. So my family will create this, I guess you would say, trophies, and then give them to like really strong people that wanted really good for their lives, and it would trickle down, and then you're born. So I create, I leave behind trophies, and those trophies become all those people. So that's why I have command over it, over your DNA, your spirit. All right, and I like to do that to elites. When I was younger, I didn't really use it to harm them in a sense. Sometimes I would, but I would use it in a way to encourage them. And now that I'm older, I'm like, well, I want all that payback. I want the Pied Piper. I am the Pied Piper, and I'm taking back everything that I gave you. Like, I want my money, I want my wealth, I want my power, I want my status. So I have to use force in the spiritual realm, because I can't do it in the physical realm because humans don't listen. So if I do it in the spirit realm and force them to follow the contract, then we'll work there. But that's going to involve a lot of this spiritual aspect. All right, so that's why Jews are such good lawyers. All right, so let's see. So yeah, that makes me Jewish, Christian, Catholic, all of it. All the above, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, all of it. All right, so let's go to looking through these things real quick. Yeah, so we have these spirits of Venus, so that's my day. Those are my two genies, and they have this ability to build the temple and to get people together to make that temple. So if I want to create something, I can get people to create it for me. Get the money, get that wealth, get that power, and create. Those are like my two guardian angels. Since I was born in Saturday, I have Saturn, which is number 50, Firkus, and he's able to watch over everything and make sure it all works, because he's very powerful. Let's see, I was born at 257, so May 27th. Marbus has the legions 36, Stolas. Stolas is Dodrio, and that's the book of Joel. 27 is Renove, Alakazam, Beelzebul. 19 is Salos, Parasect, or Paris, and that's that's Esther. So if that's the day I was born, May 27, that lets me know that I have Marbus, this energy to destroy or heal, and then I have 27, which is Renove, and he is a Marquise and an Earl. So that lets you know that he is a door opener and he can destroy things as well. I live right next to a bus stop. All right, so let's go through this little message real quick. So this is what we use this for, the Testament of Solomon. The Bible this is the Bible, and this is the key of Solomon. So everything that happens in the Bible happens in here. It's just explained in a smaller sense, just a more quick sense. So let's see. Let's look at Marbus real quick. All right, Marbus. The fifth spirit is Marbus. He is a great president, appears at first in the form of a great lion, but afterwards, at the request of the master, he puts on human shape. He answers truly of things hidden or secret. He causes diseases and cures them. Again, he gives great wisdom and knowledge in mechanical arts and can change men into other shapes. He governs 36 legions of spirits. All right. He's a president, so that's yellow and gold. Let's see. Marbis. That would be Archangel Michael, right? Because Archangel Michael holds the scales of Libra. He is, let's see, he rules over Wednesday. And Wednesday is the day of Mercury. So that's how you kind of connect things. That's how you do prophecy. And then you put everything together, and while you're doing it, you get your revelations. So let's see real quick. Then you go all the way to the back of the book, because that's the Testament of Solomon. And everything Jews do is based on numbers. Everything the Christians do is based on numbers. Everything every religion does is based on numbers. So we're going to go all the way to the back of the book, and we're going to look at this, the Testament of Solomon, right? Since I was born in May 27, and in May, you have it right there at 2. This is 2, right? Because 2, 4, 6, 8. This one is 72 over here, this red one. So 72, 2, 4, 6, 8. But we're going to look at this, because this is May, so that's number 5, but it's also 1 and 2. So that means I have Baal and things like that. So Baal would be this: Testament of Solomon, son of David, who was king of Jerusalem and mastered and controlled all spirits of the air on the earth and under the earth. By means of them also he wrought all the transcendent works of the temple, telling also of the authorities they willed against men, and by what angels the demons are brought to naught. Of the sage Solomon, blessed art thou, O Lord God, who dost give to Solomon such authority. Glory to thee, and mighty unto the ages. Amen. That lets you know, if you're a Taurus, that's kind of your blessing, your prayer. And that's also a hidden one too. That's Baal. And then 2, which is a duke, which is a Geras. And behold, when the temple of the city of Jerusalem was being builded, and the artificers were working thereat, Orneus, the demon, came among them towards sunset, and he took away the half of the pay of the chief deviser's little boy, as well as half his food. He also continued to suck the thumb of his right hand every day, and the child grew thin, although he was very much loved by the king. So that means Solomon was trying to build this temple, and it's starting off as a kid, right? Because the temple is just a blueprint. But every time he tried to invest into the temple, it was getting taken away because his people weren't listening. So he was like, how do I get these people together to build this temple? All right, now we're going to go to number 5. So if you see in the Testament of Solomon, they have numbers. You can even do this in the Bible. All right, so 5. Now when I, Solomon, heard this, so this is Marbis. Now when I, Solomon, and it's also May, okay? Now when I, Solomon, heard this, I entered the temple of God and prayed with all my soul, night and day, that the demon might be delivered into my hands, and that I might gain authority over him. And it came about through my prayer that grace was given to me from the Lord Sabaoth, by Michael, his archangel. So that's why they say Sabbath is holy. Sabbath is also the name for Saturn. But Michael is his archangel, so that means that's his form. So when God came out, he is Michael, the archangel. He brought me a little ring having a seal consisting of an engraved stone. So if you look here, this is the ring. This is the key of Solomon. This is Saturn. And what's on top of the ring? This is Mercury. That's the stone. The element for Mercury is a stone, is earth. So that means that's Archangel Michael. So when he was coming up, that's Archangel Michael. So, yep, you got the Taurus right here, the Genesis, but this is him. He creates the earth, and this is when he starts everything, you know? All right, let's keep going. This is how you prophesy and decipher and oracleize. All right, the things that humans don't know how to do. All right, but I'm teaching you so you guys don't have an excuse. All right, take, O Solomon, king, son of David. He brought me a little ring having a seal consisting of an engraved stone, and said to me, take, O Solomon, king, son of David, the gift which the Lord God has sent thee. And my name's David, don't forget that. All right, the highest Sabaoth, the King David, the gift which the Lord sent thee, the highest Sabaoth, so the highest God, or the highest form of God. With it thou shalt lock up all the demons of the earth, male and female, all the demons of the earth. So that means all the humans' bodies. He's locking them up. He's giving them a job. And with their help thou shalt build up Jerusalem. But thou must wear this seal of God, and this engraving of the seal of the ring sent thee is a penta alpha. So it's saying, all right, the word David is represented by the Star of David. That's why it's the key of Solomon, sun and moon. The sun is seen as a masculine aspect, and the moon is seen as a feminine aspect. But you have both men and women human beings, right? And those are the demons because that's their bodies. Their spirits are the angels. Their bodies are the demons because it's combined into one form. It's not separated. When you die, you're taking this form with you because this is what God gave you. And it's up to you to take care of it. Or if you don't care, you get destroyed, your body and you don't get destroyed in the sense where you don't exist anymore. You get put into another realm where you don't exist anymore and you're suffering for all eternity, and God might turn you into a precious gem and put you in his river so you can sparkle and people could look at it and be like, wow, what a beautiful stone. But you know, deep down inside that stone, a human is suffering, and that lets you know, like, my life is good because I trusted David, me, the Messiah, and I chose his side instead of my side. I chose King David, right? All right. And the Pent Alpha. So the Pent Alpha is pretty cool because that's also a really powerful star. But let's see. So it shall build up Jerusalem, and Jerusalem needs to be built. Jerusalem is God's city. So yeah, there might be a Jerusalem right now, but that's ruins. That's nothing. It's a tourist attraction. It's not a real place. Like, this is Jerusalem. I'm trying to build up my temple so that people can worship me here in this form, not somewhere else. If they want to worship me there in Jerusalem, we can do that. But I live in Los Angeles and I live on Skid Row, so we're going to have to work on that, right? All of us together. So that's where I'm getting this little Hunter x Hunter with Morena Prudo. She gathers her group of 22 soldiers. She infects them with her contagion, and she makes them follow her so they can make her the king. But she does it through like this really powerful war and violence, and that's what I'm doing. But she's like kind of like the video game controller, like in the background. She's just, you know, resting, like, yeah, okay, you know, you guys do what you need to do to get me there, but I'm not going to do any of the work because I'm the king, you know? Anyways, so now that we know who Marbus is, we have his number. Let's go on to Stolas, because Marbus has 36 legions of spirits. So he's the president, he's Mercury, he's Michael. We're learning that he's Michael, so that would mean I'm Michael. And I have Stolas as my little partner. So let's see, 36. Then we go to the page with the number 36 on it. Likewise, all the seconds said, I am strife, strife of strifes. I bring timber, stones, hangers, my weapons on the spot. But I have an angel who fronts me, Barachiel. All right, that could be Barochonisis. That is Jupiter, actually. Wow, we're learning so much because I was born in the hour of Jupiter. 2 is the hour of Jupiter. 2 p.m. is the hour of Jupiter. Like I said, it falls under water. Jupiter is water. Boom. We have the moon, but this is the... They work together to create water. That's the princes. Stolas is a prince. And usually they show him as an owl, but he's a prince. I think the owl comes from the letter 4, looks like a feather. But he's saying he's strife of strife. So he brings timber, stones, hangers, my weapons on the spot, but I have an angel who frustrates me, Barakoal. So these people are saying that, like, I have all these princes. Shouldn't they be obeying me? They have all this money. They belong to me. I'm their king. They're my princes. They should obey my commands. Their job is to carry my wealth and bring it to me whenever I need it and allow me to use it the way I want to use it. But they're not, so they're holding back my money. So that's not a good thing. But we're going to learn a little bit more, so let's keep going. But Stolas is Joel. And if we go to Joel... Joel is about, let's see, what is he about? Joel is about the day of the Lord. So it lets you know that there's this reckoning. All right, so let's go to 27. Renove, Alakazam, Beelzebul. All right, 27. Let's go to 27. Yes, we have to study. All right, 27. I, Solomon, said unto him, Beelzebul, what is thy employment? And he answered me, I destroy kings. I ally myself with foreign tyrants, and my own demons I set unto men in order that the latter may believe in them and be lost. and the chosen servants of God, priests and faithful men, I excite unto desires for wicked sins and evil heresies and lawless deeds, and they obey me, and I bear them unto destruction. And I aspire men with envy and desire for murder and for wars and sodomy and other evil things, and I will destroy the world. So that's, if I'm Michael, if I'm Beelzebub, if I'm Jesus, if I'm the Messiah, this is my title. If I'm God, this is my title. So I was born on these very powerful godly days. What is the employment? And he answered to me, I destroy kings. I ally myself with foreign tyrants. So God does that. He can destroy kings. He does ally himself with foreign tyrants. He goes to the other kingdoms and he says, hey, my Jews aren't listening. Let's go F them up. And he does. Boom. Or if he's like, all right, let's do this. Let's do that. He is powerful. God, in this form, I don't care. Like, we do these things. All right? In order to the latter may believe and be lost, and chosen servants of God, priests and faithful men, I excite unto desire for wicked sins and evil heresies and lawless deeds, and they obey me, and I bear them unto destruction. I aspire men with envy and desire for murder and for wars and sodomy and other evil things. When Morena Pruda infects them with contagion, they become warriors, they become fighters, they take over the ship full of all these people and all these kings and princes, and they show them who the real authority is. All right. But his legion is 19, Selos. Yeah, so 19 Selos. Let's see what he has to say. He says, and I said unto her, under what star dost thou pass? And she answered me, under the star of the full moon, for the reason that the moon travels over most things. Then I said to her, and what angel is it that frustrates thee? And she said to me, he that in thee is reigning. And I thought, and that she mocked me, and bade a soldier strike her. But she cried out loud and said, I am subjected to thee, O king, by the wisdom of God given to thee, and by the angel Joel. Wow, we have two prophecies in one. We have Marbus Wistolis and the book of Joel. And then we have Selos from the book of Esther screaming Joel. So it's letting you know the day of the Lord. This is the day of the Lord. Anybody born on May 27th is born on the day of the Lord. So then if anybody thinks that they're the Messiah more than I am, then I have to fight them and destroy them. Or make them obey me, right? You can either join my team or I have to destroy you with my magic. Remember, I don't use physical violence. I'm not the fighter. I'm not the one that does all the damage. Lover, not a fighter kind of thing. But I'm still a fighter, but I'm not out there hurting people with any weapons. I use magical weapons. So magical weapons, they're on the astral realm. They're in the spirit realm. They're not going to physically hurt you. They're going to spiritually hurt you and then physically hurt you. Joel, Day of the Lord, Esther, let's see. Yeah, we're just learning a lot about these things and how it works, how to decipher these things, how to decipher prophecy. And the ancient Jews used to use this, the real ones that like created civilizations and then kept moving around. Those are my ancestors. So people that created like the golems and the Levites and the priests, all of those were my true ancestors. And you might be related to them, but I'm directly descended from them. So that means we're up here and you're down here using our abilities and our powers, and we can turn it off or turn it on. We can condemn you or we can bless you. It's kind of up to you. You have free choice to either join or be destroyed. That's why they call it the mark of the beast. You either join the Messiah or you get destroyed. You either join the Antichrist or you get destroyed, because the Messiah and the Antichrist are the same. But how are you looking at me? Are you looking at me powerful as the Antichrist, or are you looking at me in disgust as the Antichrist? And then I choose, destroy or keep you. And then you have me as the Messiah, and you could be like, I love you as the Messiah, or I hate you as the Messiah. Then you can just cut through. You know what I'm saying? That's the double-edged sword. Alrighty. So we have all that prophecy right there, which is really cool. Maybe we can look at Ellie, Ghost, and Zephyr real quick. I'm just going to make this video kind of long. Oh well, just watch it and just enjoy it. I think I have to be careful though, because at a certain time I have to go leave. Let me check what time it is real quick. I still have time. It's 8:40. All right, so let's see. It's 8:40 in the morning. I'm gonna go to a place called Backup. It's in Los Angeles. It's like a mental health place. It's really cool. I like to do mental health things because in society, I'm mentally ill because obviously I believe I'm a Messiah, so there must be something wrong with me, right? But I'm like, you know what? There's something good about me, and I can be mentally ill and still be the Messiah and still beat y'all. Which would be really funny because, you know, I'm better than most humans. All right, let's see. Everything's a two-sided coin. We got the Jews and the Egyptians, the angels and the demons. If you ever see Emperor Mateus, he has horns and a snake. It had to be worse. You asked for this. Research, interpret. Let's see. Let's do the 257. 57 is Ose Voso. He has Medusa. Tentacruel is seen as Medusa. Ose is Starmie. Let's see. 2 is Agaris. Let's do Agaris because I was born at 2 o'clock, right? So 257. So at 2, and behold, when the temple city of Jerusalem was being builded and the artificers were working, Orneus the demon came among them towards sunset, and he took away half the pay of the chief divisor's little boy as well as half his food. He also continued to suck the thumb of his right hand every day, and the child grew thin, although he was so much very loved by the king. So that's Agaris, that's a Duke, that's Charizard in Pokemon. All right, so, and he has 31 legions. So let's go to 31. Let's see what that says. 31 is very, very special to have. So that's lets you know I'm aligning with a lot of prophecy. But I, Solomon, questioned him, saying, if thou wouldst gain a respite, discourse to me about the things in heaven. And Beelzebul said, hear, O king, if thou burn gum and incense and bulbs of the sea with nard and saffron, and light 7 lamps in an earthquake, thou wilt firmly fix thy house. And if being pure, thou light them at dawn, in the sun alight, then wilt thou see the heavenly dragons, how they wind themselves along and drag the chariot of the sun. So, well, that's kind of interesting. Because Charizard, obviously, is a Gyarados. It's a crocodile with a goose hawk and an old man. So if you look at Charizard, he's a dragon that can fly around, right? But he can also make earthquakes. He knows earthquake or seismic toss. And 31 is Golem, the rock Pokemon, and he can create earthquakes, right? Wow, that's crazy. How is that synchronized? Because that's how it works, all right? Nintendo knows what they're doing. They make tarot cards. They used to make Japanese tarot cards. They know how to make board games. They know what they're doing. They know that Pokemon are spirits. They know about the Ars Goetia. They're Jewish, okay? All right, and if you're like, no, they're not Jewish, well, what are Tengu? Tengu are birds with big noses and they wear boxes on their heads. That's a Jewish thing. Anyways, let's see. We have Golem, Foras, and you're burning these lamps in an earthquake. So you have Charizard and Golem. But, so that lets me know that if I ever do a ritual like that, it could cause a lot of power, that I can create this power. That's just something good to know, okay? Then we have, I was born at 257, which is Ose Starmie and Medusa and the 30 legions of Tentacruel. Let's see if we can do that one real quick. And then we'll kind of top it off or cap it off. Actually, let's do Zephyr and Eligos. So 15 is Eligos. Well, let's check out 15. And let's read that one. So we're going to go to number 15. I am questioned, and I questioned him, and said, who art thou? The demon replied, I am Beelzebul, the exarch of the demons, and all the demons have their chief seats close to me. And it is who make manifest the apparition of each demon. And he promised to bring me in bonds all the unclean spirits, and I again glorified the God of heaven and earth, as I do always give thanks to him. Beelzebul is God. So if Beelzebul is this Mercury, it's this sun, he's looking at the sun, he's like, oh wow. But he's also talking to himself. King Solomon's talking to himself because he has to realize he is God. He's the temple of God. He's the living form of God. So once he builds that temple, he's worshiping himself, and that's a good thing because he's allowing people to worship him, because Solomon is a god. We are gods. When we are purebloods, we are gods. You can still be a god because you're made in the image of God, but I'm the greatest God. I'm greater than God because I exist and I can win. Pretty scary, but who cares? All right, so 16. So we have Elagos and Zephyr. 16. I then asked of the demon if there were fat females among them, and when he told me that there were, I said that I desired to see them. So Beelzebul went off at high speed and brought unto me Onoscelis, that had a very pretty shape and the skin of a fair-hued woman, and she tossed her head actually. So yeah, if you ever go into wait a minute, that's interesting, right? 15 and 16. I wonder what books those were. I should have wrote them down. I think I did write it down. But Ellie goes, what chapter is chapter 15? Oh, right. One is Nehemiah and one is Ezra. So that's Ezra and that's Nehemiah. A lot of the times with the Jews, what they do is they breed and they have a whole bunch, and then they go build the temple, or they go start a war, or they do something. Every humanity does that. That's what it's saying. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But he's saying, I'm Beelzebul, I have the demon's chiefs close to me, and it is I who make manifest the operation of each demon. So yeah, you can kind of see this chart. It goes like this. All right, so if he's at the top over there, let's go this way. All right, so he's over here, and the sun makes all these demons appear, and then you can still see them through the night, etc. Cool. Let's move on to something else. Let's see, and who do we have for those two spirits? 60 and 26. So let's see who 60 and 26 are. So 60, because Eligos, number 15, has 60 spirits with him, or the number 60. And again, I ordered another demon to come before me, and there came rolling itself along, one in appearance like to a dragon, but having the face and hands of a man, and all its limbs except its feet were those of a dragon, and it had its wings on its back. And when I beheld it, I was astounded and said, who art thou, demon? Who art thou called? And whence hast thou come? Tell me. Ooh, that's cool. All right, let's go to Bunyang. He is number 26, so we'll go back to the chapter of 26. You could do this with the Bible, because the Bible, anything that, these numbers are so perfectly aligned that you can use this with the Bible, you could use it with the Key of Solomon, you can use it with the Ars Goetia, and it'll always match. 26. And I summoned again to stand before me Beelzebul, the prince of demons, and I sat him down and raised the seat of honor and said to him, why art thou alone, prince of the demons? And he said to me, because I alone am left of the angels of heaven that came down. For I was first angel in the first heaven, being entitled Beelzebul. And now I control all those who are bound in Tartarus. But I too have a child, and he haunts the Red Sea. And on any suitable occasion he comes up to me again, being subject to me, and reveals to me what he has done, and I support him. So that's saying, my spirit is this Beelzebul, this God spirit. And then my son, which is my body, which is, God, Jesus, right? So then I'm bringing it into me, and I'm owning it. So God and Jesus are the same thing. The devil and the Antichrist are the same thing. God and the devil are the same thing. Jesus and the Antichrist are the same thing. Because that's what they call Jesus, right? Yeah, so that's really cool. That's cool information. All right, okay. I think that's about it for now. Actually, let's do Baal. And 66 is Samahis, which is his legion. So we already went over the first part of the book, which is the first verse. And then we go to 66 to find out what it is about Baal. And I, Solomon, having heard this, I glorified God, and though I marveled at the apology of the demons, I did not credit it until it came true, and I did not believe their words. But when they were realized, then I understood, and at my death I wrote this testament to the children of Israel, and gave it to them, so that they might know the powers of the demons and their shapes, and the names of their angels, by which these angels are frustrated. And I glorified the Lord of God of Israel, and commanded the spirit to be bound with bonds indissoluble. That's so interesting. So it's saying, okay, these humans are made, they're demons, but these angels frustrate them. So your body's like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then your mind tells you like, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I want to do this, I want to do that. So you have this conflict, right? But Solomon changed them. So he's like, oh, you're a Gemini, you're a Taurus, you're an Aries, you're a Pisces, you're a Capricorn. So no matter what human you are, you were born on a certain day, right? You can't change that. So I have this authority and power to use those chains, grab you like a DNA chain, command it, and get what I want out of it, right? That's how you use sorcery, right? Let's go. All right, so I think 257, that's like the hour of Scorpio in Jupiter. And Scorpio is seen as a sign that controls those chains, that sorcery. Let's see. Yeah, because Scorpios have very powerful prayers. Samehes is a spirit that rules over spirits of Africa, so do what you will with those ideas. 2 Agarus, 31 Forest. All right, cool. We went over everything. We have all this information. We have all this prophecy. So if you're a Jew and you're listening, now you know how to know that I'm the Messiah. There's your proof. You can either accept it or you can be destroyed, right? Because if you accept it, then you're like, okay, King David, yeah, you are real. You exist. You're here. This is me. I'm King David. You're worshiping me now. But if you decide to go against me, then you get destroyed. So when Morena Prudo, she likes to play this card game with people. And she's like, okay, you're going to join my team. And while you're playing, you're going to tell me about you. And I'm going to tell you about myself. And at the end, you can choose if you want to join my team or if you want to leave. And if you join my team, then I give you exponential powers. But if you leave, you have a choice. You can either leave unharmed if you... There's this stipulation. I don't know how it works. But then there's the other one, like... if you say no to joining the team, then you get destroyed. I think your memories get erased on this one or something. I don't know. But right now, it's just you either join or you get destroyed, right? Because you're going to get destroyed on the ship anyways. But, yeah, so if you ever get the chance, check that chapter out and check out Morena Prudo and how she plays those games because it's the same thing that we're going through right now. So anyways, you either choose that I'm your King David or you choose not. So if you choose not, then you get destroyed. If you choose that I am your king, then you get to live in heaven, right? You get to live in the New Jerusalem. So that's that stipulation for the Jews. Like, are you a real Jew where you follow me? Because there can only be one Messiah. There can only be one person that you're going to follow and give all your wealth to. You're not going to follow King Charles. You're not going to follow Prince William. You're not going to follow Donald Trump. You're going to follow me, right? So you're going to leave all of them out of the equation, and you come straight to me and you worship me and you work with me, not against me. Because if you work against me, then you're an enemy, right? Yeah, so that's how that works. Let's see. So if you're a real Jew, you choose me. If you're not a real Jew, you don't. And that goes for Christianity and Catholicism because they're still Jews. You're still Jews. You just have a different title. You're a different type of Jew. You know, you're just a little bit elevated. You're just a little bit conformed in a different way. But your job is still to do the same thing. So you either join me or you go against me. Even with atheists, with Buddhists, it doesn't matter what religion you are, you still got to follow. That's why it's called the one world religion, the new world order, the one world order, you know. It all goes to me. I'm at the top of the pyramid. I'm literally the top stone. I'm not the cornerstone anymore. I'm over that. I'm the top one, right? So I'm like, hey, everybody, you got to support me. I'm not supporting you all anymore. That's not how it works anymore. All right, so we have these really cool theories. We have these really cool conspiracies. We have these entertainment purposes. Let's talk about some little topics real quick about what's going on in the world. We have the Epstein files that are being revealed, showing humanity that the elites are following my game. Then we have, to show you just how powerful I am, right? Then we have, like, let's say Donald Trump taking over Greenland or Iceland or whatever it's called, so we can control the world. You know, I get to control him, I get to control that, because obviously I'm the Messiah, I can control presidents, right? Then we have Jerusalem, Israel, fighting all these other places to take over and create the third temple. But they're like, how can we create the third temple without King David? We need the Messiah. So I'm right here. I'm like, you know what? I'm giving you these videos, this option, this choice to be able to work with me, even though I'm really mad because it's like, I shouldn't have to go to you. You should come to me because you should be powerful sages that should know prophecy and how this all works and be able to come to the conclusion and be like, that's King David. Let's work with him. Let's follow him. Let's go with him. But they're going to be like, we don't believe in Jesus. We don't believe in that. We don't believe you. We don't believe this. Like, okay, then you're the enemy. Next. All right. What about you, Christians? Okay. Well, sure. All right. Catholics. Heck yeah, we want you. All right, come on, let's go. So let's do that. But I feel like the Jews, like, I think they're doing their best to try to prove themselves. But it's like, if you really want to make a difference, right here, me. Worship me, follow me, obey my commands. Come to me, work with me, give me your money. Let's go conquer, right? Yeah, so let's see. This is my hair. So wonderful, so beautiful. But yeah. That's a lot of story. That's a lot of information. Hopefully you can digest it all. If you can't digest it, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just not meant for you. JK, just keep watching it until you get it and understand it. I know it's going to take a while. And then, get your own book, get your own stuff, figure it out yourself. It'll work with anything. Like, if you're interested in mechanics, this will work. If you're interested with science, this will work. If you're interested in baking, this will work. It doesn't matter what your job title is. It doesn't matter who you are. This applies for everything. That's why it's called the Key of Solomon. It's used for everything, to explain everything on this earth. It's used to explain everything correctly and efficiently. That's why they say it in Revelations. They're like, okay, what did they say in Revelations? Who is worthy enough to open the scroll? And then I come out and I'm like, here I am, let's go. And then everybody's like, okay. But then they're like, well, we don't really want to listen or believe you. And then I had to unleash wraths and, destruction. And I guess this is the perfect way, because making YouTube videos is a ritual. It's a magic spell. So if I'm creating these rituals and these magic spells and I'm putting it onto the universe, it will have a bigger effect and you can't stop it. And if you try to stop it, you get destroyed, and it still happens. Once you set something in motion, it keeps going. So no matter what, I'm going to make it to the top. I'm going to own England. I'm going to own Jerusalem. I'm going to own Israel. I'm going to own the world. I'm going to own Russia, Japan, the whole universe, the whole earth. It's all mine. So I'm going to win. So you either join me or you go against me. So we're going to play that game, and it's going to be your life until I win. So yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. I'm David Moore. I'm your Messiah. This was the Illuminati broadcast. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. Email me. Check out my Instagram, davidmoorepro27. I'm always willing to listen. My email is davidmoorepro27@gmail.com. You can always leave me a message on there. That'll be awesome. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you believe. Tell me how you see things. And give me your feedback, and I would love to hear it. And if you think I'm crazy and you don't like me, then that lets me know that you're a bad person, that you're an evil person, you're the enemy, and that you're not going to make it to heaven with me. You're going to go to hell, and I can't look back. Got to keep going. Oh, well. But, yeah. So if you join my team, we're going to live a great life. But if you don't, sorry. And I don't really give second chances, so don't expect to flip-flop back and forth. It's not going to work. I'm going to need, absolute sincerity, truth, and honesty. Yeah, just check out the things that I told you. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. Yeah, flip-flop a little with yourself and figure it out. But then when you come to me, make sure you're ready. But also, you don't have to be ready. You can be like, hey, I believe you. I want to learn more. I want to go through this. I want to figure it out. I want to make up my own mind. That works too. I'm cool with that. But let's make this evolve. Let's make it grow. Let's make a movement. Let's start something cool, All right, yeah, so I kind of challenged Jeremiah Schwartz, Priestess Aset Ra Man. These are other YouTubers who make really great videos. I just challenge them in a sense where I'm saying, what do you think? What do you feel? How does it work for you? What are you getting back from all of this? And let's see what we can create. And I wish I could have high priests like that, because those people are cool. I wish I had priests like that where I could be like, let's do some magic spells, let's do some rituals, and let's take over the earth. Come on, let's go. But all right, so that's that. I love you guys. Peace out.